You ever notice how everybody keeps saying they're free? Oh yeah, I'm a free individual. I make my own choices. Really? You? The same person who can't start their day without asking a little glowing rectangle if it's okay to get out of bed yet. People love that word of freedom. They hang it from flags printed on coffee mugs, slap it on the back of pickup trucks like it's a magic spell. Of freedom. It sounds beautiful until you start looking at how people actually live. Then you realize what it really means is a freedom to do exactly what everyone else is doing. We've built an entire civilization on obedience, and the best part, nobody had to force us. We line up willingly, smiling, holding our own leashes. You don't even need guards anymore. You just need policies, guidelines, and loyalty programs. The whole world's been trained since kindergarten. Sit down, raise your hand, wait for permission to be yourself. By the time you're an adult, you don't even need anyone telling you what to do. You've already internalized it. You've got a little voice in your head that goes, I better not rock the boat, people might think you're weird. Congratulations, you're a perfectly domesticated citizen. People say, I'm not brainwashed. I'm just following the rules. Huh. Well, that's the whole point of brainwashing. You don't know it's happening. You grow up being told to respect authority, follow instructions, and to stay out of trouble. Trouble is where all the fun is. Trouble is where invention happens. But no, we've been taught that safety is the new virtue. Everything's about compliance now. You can't even toast bread without a warning label. Precaution. Contents may be hot. Yeah, that's what happens when you apply fire to food, Einstein. People obey signs like they're commandments. Keep off the grass. Do not enter. No loitering. You ever think about that one? A no loitering? Isn't that just another way of saying a no existing? You can't stand still too long without somebody asking you to justify your presence. Sir, can I help you? No, I'm just breathing. Apparently that's suspicious behavior now. The whole system runs on polite obedience. You go to work, you take orders from someone who takes orders from someone else. Who takes orders from a guy you'll never meet? It's like the pyramid scheme of submission. Everybody's pretending they're the boss of someone, but nobody's actually in charge of their own life. You don't own your time, your thoughts, or your paycheck. You're renting them out to the highest bidder. And people defend this. They'll say, that's just how society works. Of course, that's how it works. That's how it was designed to work. You're not living in a society. You're living in a well-decorated cage. You're told to be a team player. Team player, that's the code phrase for a shut up and do as you're told. The team never wins, but the coach always gets a bonus. The boss drives home in a car that costs more than your house, and you're supposed to clap for him at the company picnic. They'll give you a cheap plastic trophy for Employee of the Month. Oh boy, you were the best hamster on the wheel. Here's a $25 gift card and a reminder to smile more. We've turned obedience into a personality trait. People brag about how busy they are, how hard they work, how little sleep they get. It's not dedication, it's indoctrination. You're too tired to think, too distracted to question anything, too scared to stop. That's how they like you, obedient and exhausted. The moment you start asking questions, you're labeled a difficult. You're not difficult, you're awake. And don't even get me started on how obedience is wrapped up in politeness. They tell you to be respectful. But respect always seems to flow one way up the ladder. You're supposed to respect authority, respect tradition, respect the system. But does it ever respect you back? The moment you stop clapping for nonsense, people act like you're a criminal. We've mistaken obedience for morality. A good person isn't someone who follows the rules. A good person is someone who knows when to break them. Look at how people obey brands. Wear this logo, drive that car, eat at this restaurant. The symbols have replaced the substance. If the right celebrity says it's cool, people will line up overnight to hand over their money. And the kicker? They'll call that individual expression. Yeah, nothing says individuality like dressing exactly like everyone else in the commercial. We've even learned to obey opinions. The moment something happens, everybody runs to find out what they're supposed to think about it. Nobody forms thoughts anymore. They download them. You open the news, scroll a little, and go, oh, that's what I'm mad about today. Then you run around repeating slogans like a parrot with a Wi-Fi connection. You don't even need a personality anymore. Just pick a side, memorize the script, and start yelling. You ever notice how people can't even enjoy silence anymore? The moment it gets quiet, they panic. They grab their phone, turn on the TV, or start talking just to fill the air. Obedience isn't just about rules, it's about noise. Keep everyone distracted, entertained, and talking about nothing. Because the minute people stop and think, the spell starts to break. You can't control someone who's comfortable with silence. That's why meditation never caught on. It's hard to sell you something when your eyes are closed. You grow up being told what's normal. Normal people go to school, get a job, buy a house, and pay bills until they die. That's the script. Nobody questions who wrote it. It's like a play we're all stuck in, and the only way to succeed is to hit your marks and say your lines. People are terrified of improvising. What if I mess up? Buddy, the whole show's been messed up for centuries. You might as well enjoy your scene. The system's genius is that it doesn't need to punish you for disobedience. It just makes disobedience inconvenient. Try living without a credit card, or without checking your email for a week. Society will treat you like you've fallen off the face of the earth. That's not freedom. That's digital dependence. They've replaced chains with chargers. And schools are the obedience factories. They call it education, but it's more like behavioral training. Sit still, face forward, memorize the textbook, repeat it back. You're not learning to think, you're learning to comply. They don't want curious minds. They want compliant workers. The kind of people who raise their hand to use the bathroom at age 7 and ask permission to take a lunch break at 37. Even religion's got a rule book longer than a tax form. Every belief system comes with a list of do's and don'ts, and the biggest sin is thinking for yourself. It's all about control, spiritual obedience. And then when people start to doubt, they're told that doubt is wrong. So they stay in line, scared of offending invisible supervisors. People think they're free because they can choose between 50 brands of cereal. Hello, this freedom! No, that's not freedom. That's marketing. Real freedom would be not needing any of that junk in the first place. But we've been conditioned to equate choice with liberty. It's not about what you want, it's about what you're offered. And you're offered whatever keeps you docile. Even language obeys rules now. There's a phrase for everything that keeps people in line. To be professional, or be realistic, or be nice. You know what that means, or be quiet. Because if you start talking about the truth, you make everyone uncomfortable. You can't have that. People would rather be politely miserable than honestly free. And you can't talk about obedience without talking about fear. Fear is the best teacher they've ever invented. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being left out. That's what keeps people clicking agree without reading the fine print. That's what makes people stay in jobs they hate and relationships that drain them. They don't obey out of loyalty. They obey out of fear. And the system counts on it. Because a fearful person doesn't need to be controlled. They control themselves. You can see it in the little things too. People apologize for everything. And the more polite we get, the less power we have. They call it civility, but it's really self-censorship with good manners. The whole idea of success is just another obedience test. Get the degree, get the job, get the house, get the car. Then you look around and realize you've been running a marathon on a treadmill. You never actually went anywhere. You just accumulated more stuff to manage. That's not success, that's sophisticated slavery. And yet people defend it. They'll say, oh, well, that's just life. No, that's just what you've been told life is. You've mistaken survival for living. Living means making choices that matter to you. Survival means doing whatever keeps the bills paid and the noise down. Most people aren't living, they're just managing. The beauty of the whole scam is that people enforce it on each other. You don't even need the system anymore. Your neighbors do the job. Try doing something different and watch how fast they line up to correct you. You can't wear that. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't think that way. Everyone's a part-time warden in the prison of normalcy. And of course they'll tell you that all this obedience is for your own good. It keeps society stable. We stable for who? The people who designed it. You're not supposed to question your place in the system. You're supposed to decorate it. That's why they invented social status, to make your prison cell look prettier. Even Rebellion has been commercialized. You can buy Rebellion in stores now. Punk rock on a t-shirt, revolution in a perfume bottle. They've turned dissent into a brand. You think you're breaking the rules, but they already printed the receipts. That's how deep the obedience goes. You'll even obey while pretending not to. And maybe the scariest part is how comfortable it's all become. People aren't just obedient, they're content. They like their routines, their predictable little patterns. Same route to work, same lunch, same shows, same bedtime. It's a cozy kind of captivity. You can't sell freedom to someone who's in love with their cage. So here we are, modern, intelligent, independent human beings, still living like domesticated animals who learned how to use smartphones. We take orders from invisible systems, apologize for breathing too loud, and call it progress. Maybe we don't need more freedom. Maybe we just need the courage to admit we've been tricked into mistaking obedience for wisdom. You ever notice how people don't own things anymore? Things own them. We've built an entire civilization on the idea that your worth as a human being depends on how much crap you can stack on top of yourself before the floor collapses. You can tell everything about someone just by the junk they buy. You walk into someone's house, you don't even need to ask how they're doing. Just look around. The more decorative of pillows they've got, the more emotionally unstable they are. Nobody with 19-throw pillows is okay. That's a cry for help disguised as interior design. And everybody's buying something all the time. People can't go 5 minutes without buying something. They'll say, I don't have an addiction. Oh, really? You've got 18 pairs of sneakers, 3 phones, 2 smartwatches, and a car that talks more than your spouse. You don't need help? You need a storage unit. Consumption has become the national pastime. We used to build things, fix things, make things. Now we just buy replacements for the things that broke last week. The new religion isn't about heaven or hell, it's about upgrades. The holiest day of the year isn't Christmas, it's the sale. People line up outside stores at dawn, elbowing each other for a discount on something they didn't even know existed 2 days ago. You ever watch people on sale day? It's like a spiritual experience. Their eyes light up. Their hearts race, their souls ascend when they see the word of 50% off. The high priests wear name tags, and the confession booth is customer service. Forgive me, Father, for I have overspent. They've convinced people that buying more will make them happy. It's the same message every commercial whispers, you're not enough, that you could be if you just buy this. That's the mantra. You're not tall enough, thin enough, cool enough, loved enough, but hey, here's a product that'll fix it all. You know what the saddest part is? It works. People fall for it every single time. They get that rush when the package arrives, that little dopamine hit when they tear the box open. For 5 minutes, they feel like life makes sense. Then the feeling fades, and the hole inside grows a little bigger. So they do what they were trained to do. They buy again. It's emotional recycling. People even consume ideas like products. You don't believe things anymore because they make sense. You believe them because they're trendy. This week, I'm spiritual. Next week, I'm minimalist. Everyone's got a label, a lifestyle, a slogan, and every single one comes with merchandise. There's always a t-shirt, a mug, and a hashtag. You can't just be a person anymore. You have to be a walking ad campaign. Look at how people shop for food. We've got aisles full of healthy snacks and natural sodas and organic cookies. Organic cookies. Organic cookies, that's like saying irresponsible gambling. It doesn't make sense, but it sells. Everything sells if you put the right buzzword on it. They slap eco-friendly or gluten-free on a box and people go, well, it must be good for me. Meanwhile, it's still sugar, salt, and oil wrapped in a promise. People don't even eat because they're hungry anymore. They eat because they're bored, stressed, or celebrating something. We're the only creatures on Earth who need a reason to eat that isn't hunger. And have you noticed that every product promises to make your life simpler? You ever wonder why life never gets simpler? Because every gadget that's supposed to save time ends up taking more of it. You buy a new phone. You spend a week setting it up. You buy a fancy coffee maker. Now you need filters, beans, cleaning tablets, and a degree in chemistry just to make a cup. They call it a smart technology, but it's not smart if it takes you 3 hours to make toast. People say I'm not materialistic. Oh, yes, you are. You just don't notice it because it's disguised as necessity. You don't call it greed. You call it convenience. I need this. No, you want it. There's a difference. I need a car with heated seats. Really? What happened to coats? I need a phone with facial recognition. Why? So you can confirm it's really you wasting your time. We've been sold the idea that more stuff equals more status. If your neighbor gets a new car, suddenly your perfectly fine car feels like garbage. You were happy with it yesterday, but today you're embarrassed. That's not envy. It's consumer programming. They've turned comparison into currency. The economy runs on insecurity. If people were content, the whole system would collapse. You can't sell satisfaction because once people are happy, they stop shopping. So the trick is to keep everyone slightly unhappy all the time. Just unhappy enough to keep buying, but not unhappy enough to start thinking. And the irony? People think they're shopping out of choice. I buy what I want. No, you buy what you're told to want. You've got entire industries figuring out exactly how to make you feel like you made a decision. You didn't choose that cereal. It chose you. You didn't pick that outfit. It was whispered into your brain through 1,000 little ads you didn't even notice. That's the beauty of the system. You don't even know you're being manipulated. You think you're free, but your freedom's sponsored by a brand. It's even in our holidays. Every holiday's an excuse to consume. Christmas? Buy gifts. Valentine's Day? Buy flowers. Mother's Day? Buy guilt. Every emotional experience has a price tag. You can't just say, I love you anymore. You have to prove it with jewelry. Love used to be a feeling. Now it's a receipt. And weddings, don't get me started on weddings. They've turned the act of two people agreeing to tolerate each other into a multi-billion-dollar shopping spree. The dress, the cake, the photos, the venue, the flowers, the decorations. Every part of it is designed to scream, look how much money we spent to prove we care. And half the time, they're divorced before they finish paying for it. You could have just gone to City Hall and bought a blender. Same outcome, less debt. Even the stuff we throw away tells a story. We produce more trash than we do ideas. People can't fix anything. They just replace it. Something breaks, toss it out, buy a new one. The landfills are full of perfectly good gadgets that just needed a little repair, but nobody knows how to fix anything anymore. Why would they? The system doesn't teach you to repair. It teaches you to repurchase. Because fixing something doesn't make anyone rich, but replacing it does.